Yo, what up, gamers? Welcome in. Man, we're back on the ECL. Season 48 here for South America, for Neo and myself. Always good to be on, always good to show our faces. Obviously, still early days here as well, which is always really cool to catch where these teams are at. Although, saying that, with the way that the format is here in South America, it feels like there has been a fair few games. So I think that there's an awful lot to get through. Straight into the format here, though, guys, right? Because I think this does take a little bit of talking over. So it's BO1s, two sets of BO1s, or rather, two games, sorry, a day for these guys. They play off against each other twice, I think is kind of what I'm getting at, right? Which is maybe something that, isn't all that common. Usually it's like, okay, I do one BO1, then I play a different team, then I play a different team. But here it's like you get a little bit of experience. And as you can see, it does break down into, as it does in EU, as it does in NA that you might be familiar with, these different systems of playoffs, as it were. You've got a skip, you've got a lower bracket, etc., depending on how well you perform.
Yeah, exactly. Fundamentally, when you look at it, it's a double round robin system. It's one single group. All the matches are best of ones in the groups until, of course, we get towards playoffs. The top 10 teams that go towards playoffs, and then from there, like I said, it breaks down. So the first two teams, the top two, go all the way to the upper bracket semis. They skip a lot of the games. From third to sixth, go to the upper bracket quarters, and then everybody else goes straight into kind of that lower bracket. So that's kind of how things sort of work out. This is where we are in terms of the group itself. These are, of course, all the teams playing. You got some of the bigger names like Pain, Insanity, who are currently both at the top. Pain are 4-0. They've won all four of their best of ones, of course, both days, because you do two best of ones a day. Insanity are 3-1, alongside the likes of Casa, for example. And then it starts down a little bit. You got Crew and Hype, who are both 2-2. Fluxo and Red Canids, who are 2-0. And then Bestia, Onyx, Smoke, who are 1-1. And it starts to trickle down a little bit. So you kind of get the gist of things. You play a lot of games. You play two a day, two best of ones a day against the same opponent. The veto is a little different as well. So the map that gets picked in, then also will be in the second series, will be the first wave ban. It'll be the first one dropped out. And then you go, so you're always going to get a different veto, which is good to see. But you kind of get the gist. It's best of ones. You play against it twice in one day. Nice and simple. Let's take a look at the game that we're going to be covering today here on ECL South America. We got a bit of a heater here. We got Fluxo taking on Bestia. Fluxo currently 2-0. So for them, they want to continue that streak. And over the other side as well, for Bestia, they're 1-1. So they want to, get a couple of wins under their belt, get a positive scoreline.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, going to be mad difficult here, of course, for this squad. To be honest, Fluxo at the moment, it feels like are probably the best team at this level. They've just had a massive sort of upgrade come down from above, as it were, with Art coming in. So I think that has had a massive impact. They're on this streak at the moment. So really looking solid. They also picked up Nyx around the same time as Art. So some upgrades, some changes, and it has paid absolute dividends. They look really good right now. So it is going to be tough for Bestia to get things going. I don't know, man. I don't know. I do like the look of this Fluxo squad. I think that, of course, the Brazilian Counter-Strike, South American Counter-Strike kind of therefore on an international level is not looking fantastic. Furia today, EWC, 13-1, right? Is the big game there. They very narrowly avoided getting absolutely ruined by Na'Vi. I think that's correct. Anyway, we were sort of casting at the time.
No, 13-5 at the end, but you
on one of their maps. Okay, so 13-5, but they were it was 12-0 in the half, right?
Yeah.
And they still were sort of 2-0. It's not looking too great, and I think that there is room here now for a team maybe like Fluxo to come in, some younger players here, some hungrier players, and maybe compete on that international stage. But for the time being, as we're talking about in ECL, they are kind of the scary team. I think they are maybe the team to beat at the moment, and that definitely looks to be the case. Form-wise, you've maybe got Pain as well. I think the two squads that look really great right now. And maybe indeed we'll get to see them face off a little bit later on in that playoff bracket, but not for a while here. So this will be our first map coming out then, is the Nuke. I think I'll let you talk this over. I kind of know what you're going to say, but I think it's fair enough because, you fed the information here on how the veto sort of works a little bit unique.
Yeah. Simple as in towards that second series, which will come obviously just straight after this, that will be the first wave ban that comes through, because it is technically picked in here. It's the first map that gets banned in the second wave, so I think that's Fluxo's first ban, right in saying. But I think Nuke as a map for this series in particular is actually quite a nice handshake. Both of these sides play it. They play it with pretty decent amount of success. It's very popular in the region. It's very popular for both of them, both on a domestic and an international scale. So I think this map is, of all the maps, it was going to be the best of one choice. I think this is probably the best option they could have gone for, because when you look across the rest of the pool, you've got potentially Mirage, but both of them are actually a little bit worse for wear on it. They play it, they both played it 13 times with a 46% win rate, right? So exactly the same, but it's not exactly a confident map if you've got a sub 50% win rate. So that for me is probably the reason why they've gone towards a Nuke. It just feels a little bit more clean and cut. We've obviously both made our predictions of who we think is going to win this. For me, I'm going Fluxo. I feel like Fluxo, I've got this one in the bag in both fashions as well, first and second game. I just feel like at the moment, they are the slightly stronger side.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm the same, to be honest. I think that we're fairly clear on that at the moment. We've been taking a look at this kind of Fluxo team and the way that they have been performing recently. And again, just those sort of additions are in particular for me, I think, is massive. Don't get me wrong, on that international stage, things sort of fell off for him for sure, and the team in general. But this guy just has so much experience, and he really is a good player, you know what I mean? And I think that the level that he will be able to bring and the level that he'll be able to push some of these players to, and Lukazi maybe will be one of those. Zevi's also been looking very, very good recently. So I feel like domestically this team looks absolutely fantastic, and they've got a couple of names to take down to sort of prove, then get them into some like challenger events and whatnot, indeed to the playoffs of this. And maybe into Pro League and stuff like this, right? These types of tournaments that have a little bit more flow, a little bit more open-ended with the qualification, and I think that Fluxo could sort of surprise a little bit, and they always kind of do in the Brazilian region as well. Furia, we expect more from them, but you have your Fluxos, you've had Pain at some points, and MIBR a bit more recently, looking really, really impressive. So we'll take a little check-in with who our player to watch is going to be here as well. Kind of gave you a little taster of that just a second ago, of course. And it is going to be Lukazi here, the guy that we're going to watch throughout. I think that, as I've said, statistically, he looks fantastic. And then, of course, we'll keep up with how he's doing throughout the series and everything. But yeah, I also, on that sort of map side of things as well, just to chime in there a little bit, not to rehash too much of what you're saying, but beyond those permabans, neither team likes playing Mirage, so it does feel like everything's going to lean the way of Fluxo. I think there's sort of a fun game to play on where that next one goes, whether it's going to be Ancient, whether it's going to be like a Dust 2, or maybe, probably an Inferno if they ban down wisely.
Sure.
I think, it'd be interesting here.
Yeah, it is going to be a cool series, I think. There's a reason why we sort of picked this game. There's a few other options that were available. I'm just looking through some of the games now, and the fundamental thing was they're actually quite lopsided, where this one isn't, right? You've got maybe Imperial versus Crew, where I say Imperial should be the pretty clear favorites. I know they're actually just going through changes with the minus Henny situation. Red Cannon's hype. That Red Cannon team is so cool right now. I really think they're one of the scary teams in South America. However, I don't know whether Hype can actually contest them in terms of the depth of their strat and map pool. This one, though, is cool. I do feel like it's got some decent legs behind it. There's a world as well with Pain versus Casa. Could be a little bit interesting, but I do think Fluxo Bestia is teams who both are of, the way I would always kind of caliber them is RMR quality teams. Like they should or could make it to an RMR, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see them there. And they could have the potential of making it out of the RMR and getting towards qualifying for the major. We saw it happen with teams like Legacy, for example, in the most recent America's RMR. So we know it's possible for teams of this caliber if they clean up a few things. And it does seem that recently as well, things have been going pretty well for both of these sides. Bestia are a side who always continue to be actually quite impressive. I think that's the big thing for them. And then the other side as well for Fluxo, prior to the player break, they had a fairly decent run of things right at the end, right? They won that regional clash in South America, which is pretty good for them. In the likes of Thunderpick, for example, in the close quals, they finished in that top 4 spot, which at least still showcases they are still a scary side domestically in the region and all the rest. I think the big thing for Fluxo is they just have these dips in and out of form and these periods where they're just not as competitive as they should be, considering the name value on paper. But I do like this team. I think they've got a lot to offer. I'm hoping we get to see the best out of the new guys coming through as well. And Nick's in particular, somebody that is quite interesting. Just backstory-wise, the guy used to be a Fortnite pro. And he hung up the Fortnite mouse and he decided to come to the true GOAT game and join Counter-Strike. It was a little bit of a random signing, but I do quite like it in the sense. And then, of course, you got Lukowski, Zevi, are all three names who sort of have been around for quite a while. And then the Arsenal, that of Che Jesus, who, same thing. He's played on a few of the decent teams in the region. Sharks was probably the most notable one, but SWS for a while looked pretty solid. So all in all, this is a Fluxo side that are very solid. For Bestia on the other side, for them, same sort of vibe, right? This is a side who have had good form, have been putting up some decent performances in terms of tournaments and making solid-ish runs. I think, we kind of got to see them a little bit at the Fire League Global Finals, but unfortunately for them, it wasn't the greatest of runs. They really just couldn't get out of the groups, right? Simple as that. They couldn't pick up a single win. Losses to Pain, losses to 9Z, who are domestically also very scary sides, and I will put them a little bit above Bestia. So at the moment, it does feel like for Bestia, they've got their skill ceiling, or they've got at least the teams above them that you say is kind of their limit. Teams like Pain, teams like 9Z, but Fluxo is one that they can pick up a winner with. I do feel like this is a side that they have an opportunity to maybe make something out of this. They're probably, I would put them currently in and around that level, maybe over Red Cannons. I'd say Red Cannons maybe have a little bit of a higher skill ceiling, but in terms of performances, that's where I put Bestia right now. So this is a cool game. I do think it has the potential to be a 2-0 either way or a 1-1 as a sort of a handshake, just because both of them have the ability to beat each other. It's just more or less who shows up on the day.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is true, right? And that's obviously a game that we want to bring here. I think, Bestia are really interesting. Just to kind of touch on the sort of element of the fact that obviously Argentinian for the most part, right? And then Zoc coming from Uruguay. So I think that for me is a really sort of cool angle, not really a region or a country that you feel has an awful lot of talent or should have an awful lot of talent, right? That we don't really hear about them too much. And again, we might see this sort of blend. It would be very, very curious if some of like the Brazilian players in particular are willing to learn Spanish, right? I would imagine there's a fair amount of crossover, maybe some that do, parentage and all this sort of stuff, right? So that could be something that could open the door if like we are seeing kind of a bit of the death of Brazilian Counter-Strike at the moment with this Furia change-up, Furia moves not really fielding that much success thus far. But thank you very much for bearing with us here, folks. Of course, a little later than we would like to get started, but that is what they pay us big bucks for, of course. Into the action here on...
Should be exciting. I'm looking forward to this. This has the potential to be a very good game. It has the potential to be exciting. Let's see if it is. Smoke in towards main. The first fight behind it is successful for Thomason. So he catches off. Holds it down on towards Lukowski as well. Nick will answer back. Makes it a double. This is an aggro fight towards A, but they're not clearing properly. How? Has Che Jesus not fallen?
A little awkward. Okay, just tapping away. Actually manages to make that work on the fadeaway. That's kind of ridiculous. And I felt like, with the way the HPs looked, there might have been an angle for Bestia to get in there, but just tapping away, making it work. Fluxo to pick up that pistol. And now we'll see. Bestia going in for the force buy. Again, we're not massive fans of it here in the casting booth, but regionally, I think we're going to see a lot of force buys for sure, and then also on Nuke. It can work from time to time. Got to have a game plan for me, though, in terms of what they're doing here. And it does look like they do, to be fair, pretty A-sided lean here. Not too much out of left field, but certainly a decent defense if they walk into the right spots, or rather the wrong spots.
It's going to be the first tally from South America on my little list. So let me just see where this goes. If Fluxo take it, though, it's pretty important because it means they get out the gate on this T side, good amount of room to work with. Tag with the Scout's not bad, but you tag up the Mach 10 of all the guns to tag. That's probably the one that Fluxo care least about, really. A very slow round from Fluxo. They give them a lot of respect, ultimately. Nyx swings, tags, looking for the kill. He's hunting, and he will take a tag, but in the end, he sees off Nuxie.
Yeah, looks decent. Luchov jumping up here, though. Trying to trace the footsteps and hopefully catch them moving in towards heaven. Not going to be the case, but it gives a decent amount of information across. You know, he gets up there, he doesn't see anyone down in hell, so probably speaks to a B hit. Zoc is here, ready to go. Oh, that's clean. That looks really good. They've got to be careful moving into him now, of course. Could get messy. Could get very, very messy. Luchov. Oh, he's up top, ready to go. Gets another. Brilliant discipline here. Looking good for the pistols. Down to Chevy.
10 seconds.
Jesus.
They're
no
saving.
time. Yeah, no time, in fact. Unless they just barreled in. So it's gone south.
Yeah, that feels like one that, you know, it pains me in a way to give it as a successful one, but Fluxo have played that more or less as badly as you possibly could play that. And I think, you know, you hate to put it onto one person's shoulders, but that has to be coming from the IGL. What is the mid to late round call there? It's so scrappy, so weird, and, you know, you've got 19 seconds, you know, going from bottom ramp all the way towards A. There's surely no legitimate way they thought they were just going to waltz in towards the A side and get a plant there. So, all in all, a wild, wild round, which Bestia probably as perplexed as we are about it, in fairness, but it's not left a great amount of economy to work with for Fluxo in this one.
All charging straight in, though. Might be able to make this work. We talked about the prominence of frostbites, however, absolutely shut down by the crossfire. So much damage coming in. It's just going to be down to Zevi. Incredibly low, man. Not expecting anything out of him. He might be able to take a name or two with him, to be fair. So we'll see. Plenty of time to work with. Got a bomb, of course. Get the drop hit. Yeah, he does. His position now going to be revealed. But this is the problem. Nuke can be really quite friendly to those T-side clutches. Keep the CTs guessing. Is he moving in off that kill? Is he going backwards? You know, you can close quite a few areas on the map by just walking around. But speaking of walking, straight into Luchov's sight lines. Easy find in the end, and Bestia will fend off their anti-force fight. Yeah,
Nicely done. It was a little scrappy, and there was potentially a moment, but it will mean there is now no money to work with for Fluxo. This one is a bit of a throwaway. Bestia should make it a 3-1, and on Nuke, that is exactly the sort of start that you want, need, all of the rest. This is going to give you confidence, and at the very least now, a little bit of something to work with where we can say, okay, we're feeling like we've got an idea about how to sort of make this one work for us. For Bestia, these rounds have been super scrappy, and I think they realize that for the most part, you too early, and then guns up in the mid round, because that's where Fluxo try and make a move, and once that does ultimately fail, as it has so far, then they get a little bit perplexed, and Bestia don't have to do all too much. Luchov finds Lukowski for the first. Nice and easy.
Hanging around, looking for a bit more as well. But nothing coming just yet. Will be some fights going down, I'm sure. For the time being, a pretty far back sort of move here from Fluxo. Maybe talking things over and trying to work out what they're going to do in the next round. They have to very quickly make their presence known. They do come in as the favourites, but Bestia have already showed us what they are capable of and what you were talking about. There is a world in which, if their individuals come alive, they could get it done. Zevi, however, still keeping them awake. We get later into the day over in South America, of course. Easy finds in the end, though. Just the one crazy deagle shot. That's all Fluxo get.
Alrighty. 3-1. That one was a little bit of a throwaway. This next round, however, does have to have a little bit of an idea behind it. We need to see this Fluxo side come alive in the way that they should be. I mean, there's been some very weird rounds of Counter-Strike. That's safe to say. And I mean, it goes without saying that if things do falter or slip quickly, that they could be under quite a bit of trouble. If they fall here, Bestia can get all the way up to a 5-1 start on the CT side, which isn't bad. Zoc, I would have heard them cross. A flash will force him away, but he has to relinquish his control. You want to fight here from hell. I think it's a bad idea, but Nix will fall to Luchov, who does immediately get traded.
4-on-4. Next big moment, going to be over towards Secret. It depends, though. Lukazi does check it. That timing is otherworldly. Absolutely incredible stuff. Art going to finish off Naz as well. Looking good here. They will creep out onto this A-bomb site. Discover that it is indeed clear. Zot out towards Secret. So, going to be a saving move, it would seem. Yeah, I don't think that the CTs can really do too much about this. So, Fluxo for rifle round, proper one anyway. And it goes very, very successfully for them. So, pretty good sign. There's some serious level about to come into this game, it feels like.
Yeah. Mazin gets one, but can we trade at the end? So, simply as they reclaim a little bit further in this one. And for Zoc, keeping an AK alive would be nice. And I think, looks like, thankfully, Zevi's actually not going to dip down towards Deep Sea, because at the very least, they both should keep hold of their guns, which is fine. But Fluxo, much better round. Zoc's made some noise here. Zevi is aware. That's why you see him sort of heighten his senses for a second. But in the end, Flux take a second. That's all that matters. Another round of the ball for them, and a solid one for the T side. Only a couple of casualties. Nothing to be too worried about with the main way I would put it. But I'm not going to be called here by Bestia, of course, because this is best of ones, and just generally they're akin to, if things go south, they very quickly get out of hand. I understand why there is a tendency to use up these pauses early and make sure that don't let things slip away from you. Don't want to risk putting up too solid of a side that by that point you're sort of stuck, right? So I can understand very much to a degree why we'll pause, we have a conversation, and you know, that's that.
Yeah, I think it's fair enough. Give them some respect across. Very quickly. I'm going to try and get into the action here. In fact, Fluxo in particular, super fast move outside. Not a great deal of presence here from the CTs, actually. Pretty far back after that initial move. And Lukazi, yeah, has made his way downstairs. Unseen, unheard in particular, right? Luchov was not expecting him to be there at all. So, an easy pickup for Fluxo, and a pretty abusive kind of move from them, actually.
Zoc gonna double up as they make a little push, it seems, or I feel like they're at least tempted to. Doubling up, but they're being held for. This could get awkward. Lukazi, he doubles away the worst possible time. Jumps back up, thankfully, but he can only go 1-for-1. Still, numbers are favorable towards the T side. I can't see a world in which Fluxo lose this, and now most definitely not. They know where the last guy is. There's surely no chance of this one happening. And it will just once again be a save call, but Fluxo going to tie this game up 3-all.
Yeah, looking good, man. Looking very, very good. Once the guns have come out, seem to be on a bit of another level. This round in particular is pretty clean. They'll take everybody down as well. No saving coming in. So, Bestia, not a chance at the buy. Not a chance. Fluxo immediately, for me, have hit the ground running. You know, it's a little bit weird. Certainly, as you said, and I think was evident just from watching the rounds, really not the best anti-eco coming out from them. But all the same, they have managed to improve their game pretty quickly. And they will close that gap. They will potentially take the lead here more than likely, it feels like. Moving in pretty quickly as well to try and get that done. Say it should be easy. Luke gets a little caught. Zevi, however, for the 4K. Lovely anti-eco moment for him. And there you are. Fluxo taking the lead. Having a good time over here as well. Art just messing around a little bit. Nonetheless, into another swing round here.
Yeah, good work. Good work indeed. Liking what I see, right? We are at least justifying what is a very, very solid showing from this side where for Fluxo, they've got a lot to fall back on at the moment. Good Counter-Strike, very minimal errors. Oh, obviously the start of this and very aggro. Oh, one again trying to go quick and he will be gifted a kill. That's beautiful work as he looks for more. Naz, Backside will fall to the same fate as Luchov will trade.
Mess out here on the A-bomb site. Oh, until Bestia are able to just all move together as one. Jay Jesus left to do it all. Certainly not the wackiest name I've ever heard, but it's an interesting one, you know. Either way, he's left in the clutch. I don't know that his name's going to help him out too much here. Oh, they've checked him. Surely goes down. Yeah, it does well to take one, to be fair, make it costly, but no bomb plant. You know, it's always nice to find that, keep the economy of your own boosted. Still, though, you can see the money looks pretty good. They might go for something a bit different here. Maybe an AWP to come out is what I'm potentially thinking, but no, not going to go for it. So, just the AKs once again for Fluxo.
Say that. Zevi sold. He could be tempted. Pick up the end of the air. It is. Zevi's a bit of a demon on the AWP. When he really gets going, he can be super difficult to stop. I'm interested to see. When T-Sat AWPing is not an easy thing. Oh, fairness. A lot of util early. Thomason takes a hell of a lot of damage. He's already towards outside and making a bit of a move. Jesus and Art both going to get tagged, but Art's down vent. They've snuck in the back lines.
Yeah, it's problematic. We'll see. Little 1-for-1 outside. But Art getting down. Was going to be good info. He decides to stick around, right? Because they find success through secret. He has no need to use his position to his advantage. Just gifts him a frag. Oh, and it's getting a bit weird. Luchov trying to chase down Art. 4-on-2. Oh, looking good for Bestia, man. They need this consistency. Zoc is maybe in a good spot. Coming in behind. Gets good timing. Will draw some attention away as well. Zoc continues to position himself wisely. The bomb is the big problem right now. Getting that in towards the site. Zoc falls. As maybe biting off a bit more than he can chew. Down to Naz. Didn't have the crosshair in place, but still wins the first. Is that bomb going down? Assumes it's B. I also did the same. Didn't even notice Zevi had gone flying up the vent to get the plant on A. And that should, therefore, make life very, very difficult for Naz.
Yeah, surely, right? Naz, he's giving it a go. He's being held by the AWP. It's going to make his life super difficult here. Crossing, even that is perilous. No, he's saving. He's called it. Zevi will hear this as well, and he'll realize sooner rather than later he does. Zevi going to try and make sure he can't save. The big thing is don't lose your AWP. That scope might have been heard. Hang on. Oh, he does miss. That's a bad one to miss. And potentially Naz might go looking for that AWP after the bomb goes off. Yeah, he will. Did it fly away? Is it somewhere that he can pick it up? No, it's gone. It's floated away somewhere. It will be Fluxo getting another round, but no AWP or no AWP saved is pretty damning to the econ, but they buy back into it because they got so plenty of funds. Bad shot to miss for Zevi, but in the end, does it matter? No, it's an exit frag, which has very minimal effect all in all. So back into it. Second time out call by Bestia, and fully understandable why. Traditionally, when I commentate maps like Nuke, I always say, right, it's 5 rounds feels good enough. It's at least stable enough where there's something to work off, and Bestia know that. They've already given up 5 towards Fluxo. If Fluxo get anywhere near 6 or more on this T side, it could already start to spell potentially even the beginning of the end, because that's just how good this T side has looked, at least for the moment.
yeah, for me, looks absolutely brilliant. So, do worry for Bestia a little bit if they can't just give us something substantial to work with, you know. Minus those opening moments, this would be a really different kind of experience. Naz, spam down, returns some of his own, but somehow nobody falls in that exchange. The nade, oh, the molly surely. Yeah, can't get away from that one. They will at the very least find art, so the numbers remain even, but my goodness, that is also a lot of resources given up, I think, for that one kill for Fluxo. So definitely keep your eye on the utility. No smokes left. Not the worst thing in the world on Nuke, to be fair. But it is maybe a bit of a lack of Molotovs. Flash goes in. It's a bit too deep. Zevi even finds Zoc while halfway blinded. So, right idea. Wrong execution for Bestia, unfortunately. That one seals it. Luchov to save.
Yep. Sadly, has to be all you can do here. And saving a FAMAS really just is even more of a gut punch because it's a FAMAS. But it's a Rana, which is a complete non-starter from the get-go for Bestia. I mean, hang on. Maybe there's a world in which Luchov can get a bit of an upgrade. He might catch Lukowski off guard, or if Che Jesus is coming over. There is a world, not completely out of the realms of possibility. Is it going to make a difference even if he is to get the kill? I don't think so. Lukowski doesn't clear it. They're thinking about it, but yeah, Luchov will stay tucked. Good work, though. Really good work coming through from Fluxo. Up to a 6th. Guaranteed at the bare minimum going to be a tied game. That is already in itself huge. And Luchov dies regardless. So all that for nothing in the end. Just to really rub salt in the wound. All that for nothing. I thought he'd be all right there, in all fairness. But, you know, left low, but enough to stay alive with that FAMAS. But not even that. I hate to see it.
A little bit funky in it, mate. A little bit funky on the Nuke blast zones. I mean, the Inferno ones are kind of crazy at the moment, but the Nuke ones, I think, are sort of hard to know each and every spot, right? Because the map's a little more fluid in that sense. So, the last Bestia timeout, absolutely mental in it. We go from, you know, doing sort of tier 3 EU, there's like no timeouts ever. And you come to South America where it feels like, you know, maybe things would be more going with the flow, a little more wild, a little more just sort of a few more forces in places and whatnot. But they've used all their timeouts already. So it's very interesting how the philosophies differ across oceans.
It's true. It is very, very true. Nix and Lukowski. Gonna try and crack things open. Lukowski's got, we're gonna say, room towards back red. The AWP misses the chance. Gonna group up a little bit towards our side. JG's is gonna bring over C4. Will they clear Zoc here? Is the question. Molotov towards Hell. So Zoc knows in a moment he's gonna be tested. He has a Zeus. That's what I'm looking at. Will he be able to get it? Too far away. Too far away. Nix are Zevi all combined at the same time. And this round is donezo. And it's flawless just to make it even sweeter. Fluxo have guaranteed a lead. This is pretty sick now.
Yeah, looking really good. I think getting their rewards for how effective their rifle play has been. Man, I'm still a little disappointed about the Zeus. It was on, but he was just out of range, you know?
Back in the day, that would have done like 80 damage. These days,
True.
Sadly
true.
not. Sadly not.
It's the price we have to pay for a reusable Zeus, make it a slightly more useful, but is it? You know what I mean? I kind of get the idea. It freshens up the Zeus or whatever, but generally you're going to be in an area where, you know, maybe for a casual player it's a bit different, but from like a pro level, you're going to be in an area where you're super vulnerable anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, very rarely you're going to get one kill. And then if you do, you're going to grab the gun and use that, not the Zeus again.
It's true.
You know?
Oh.
They need to hire me, these Valve people. They need to hire me, and I'll tell them
There we go.
what to do.
Tell them to get rid of Vertigo while we're at it. And
yeah.
an Inferno for good
A
measure.
long con to just accidentally delete Vertigo. Like all the files so it never comes back.
Yeah, just into the ground. Make sure there's no cloud saves anywhere. It has been a 1-for-1 trade for Bestia. Yeah, ooh, loot shop. He did spot one, but they will get out on towards A. Their first fight not successful, however. Smoke gonna come down. Noxy just gonna run all the way over to join this hot push. Could come at the detriment of his life. There's a little bit of a lobby crunch. Nix, one. Needs two. He can't get it out. He's the bomb vulnerable. 1 versus 2. Has to be Chris from Nuke, and he can't see it off. 7-5 at the half. Can Bestia come back? We'll see after the break.
Welcome back in, everybody. We are looking down the barrel of the second half pretty quickly as well. Time has worked out nicely, you know. We're not sat around waiting to get going. Bestia, it's a deceiving kind of scoreline here. 5 rounds from them, but that comes off of the break of the economy and a couple of sporadic rifle rounds. We'll see if the Seaside is any different for them. Luke to open up, but it is short-lived for him. The rest of the team looks pretty good. Che Jesus, he's got Julies of his own as well. Wild, Wild West out here. And it's all down to Noxy. Not a homie around right now. Not much that he can do. He's good information. There's a step behind, but I think his shadow just stretching over for Art to get vision. And indeed, a clean frag.
And, of course, now, one of those things where, like you said, it does feel a little deceiving, and this is why. Fluxo have been the better side. If they hadn't lost the force, and if they had maybe had a couple of cleaner moments, the final round of the half particularly as well, it should have been better. It wasn't, but I think now it should slot itself into towards place. That's only one casualty taken there for Fluxo. what was a very simple pistol round. But on the board of a Bestia, like I said, 1 kill, no bomb plant. And charge. Jesus, keep that gun out, my friend. Auto shotgun only gets 1. Now that is a rarity, in all fairness. They got more kills on the pistol round against Fullby than they did against their own pistols. But in the end, the result is still the same. It's still Fluxo. Take another round.
Indeed, looking good. But Bestia, of course, this is what they've been waiting for into the second half, wanting to get things underway and really look to impress us. They're going to have to do so quickly, to be honest with you. They do not have a lot of room to work with here. But the buy looks pretty good. Plus the utility, full AKs, right? They're up against a few FAMASs, which are not really ideal. What is Luke Howsey doing, mate? That is pure madness, to be honest. Just barreling straight on in. I mean, it works, right? You catch a player rotating nades. Why would you ever go for a play like that? But when you're 9-5 up, you've got a bit of room to work with. You go for the crazy moves. Of course, knows all about that. He will be traded, falling to his own kind of strategy, you know, working around the smokes there. Nade could, but doesn't find Noxy. 4v3 still looks pretty good for Fluxo, though.
All right. Naz, down lower. He's grouped up here as well. They've got the bomb. That's the important thing. Luchov holding for rotations. Fluxo's still sticking around towards top site. I realize sooner rather than later that it's wrong. Bomb will go down. That's obviously going to tempt over this rotation for Zevi. Does he clear Noxy towards back red? Well, because of how low Noxy is, that one's a given. And now it's 2 versus 4. And this round is difficult. Very difficult for Bestia. Don't have the numbers. Yes, they've got the bomb plant, but that rotate comes through. And they've got util to work with, Fluxo. By no means they're going to feel adverse to giving this one a go. Tapping away to hope and find Naz. Time is ticking. You've got to make a bit of a move as Naz hits a nice shot. Zevi will trade. 1 more left and Luchov surely a dead man walking. He taps away. The plant is open. We got to get on it. Luchov's surely done it. No time. That round is won and you can tap it all you want, Nix. But it's Bestia who take it out of nowhere.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that's the practice coming in, isn't it? You know, it would have been great to get a little replay of that to be able to sort of point out what I'm talking about. But the strafe tapping, I guess, the strafe bursting maybe is technically what it would be. But really clean to just dodge away and not give them easy fights, so to speak. Keep them panicked. Keep the bullets down range. And Fluxo really do get on top of each other, man. Breakdown in communication ever so slightly. That should have been easy pickings. He was in the same spot for a good 10 seconds. We'll see, though. They come back with a buy. And the buy from Bestia. Not fantastic. Oh, that's nearly 3 out from Nix, the young gun, the recent addition. Sets up 3 at the very least. Zoc all alone. And Bestia immediately come crashing back down to reality.
And sadly, this has just been the thing for Bestia. Is the second they find a bit of success, or maybe a bit of leeway, it very quickly just goes right back in their face. It's tough. Really tough. Che Jesus, he's getting in behind. The Mac 10 will see it off. Crisp as. And all in all, nothing to really hate there. AK's picked up 2 to really round out. Just a cherry on top as what has been some beautiful Counter-Strike. Simple as. Fluxo 10-6. They're 4 rounds ahead. They're 3 rounds away. Bestia don't have a buy, so realistically, Fluxo should get 11 without having to break too much of a sweat. That leaves Bestia with more or less 1 full buy and potentially a force buy to try and stay alive. I don't know if they've got it in the locker.
Yeah, man, it is going to be a tough one here for sure. Again, just given the way that their game has gone, no streaks at all, really, for this team, apart from the one time that they broke the bank. And, you know, credit to the force buy, but a lot of it was maybe on Fluxo just being a bit foolish, I think, in their approach. A little bit overconfident, for sure. But they look good here. Confidence certainly can be key in Counter-Strike, I can tell you that much. And we'll see whether that continues being successful for them. Art picks up one. He's got the wherewithal now to drop back. You know, I think that's maybe something that was missing a little bit from the start of the game. Still looking for fights, however. He is going to get them. He's going to run out of ammo for sure. The USP was all that he needed. Down to just Zoc, making plenty of noise. On top of the marshmallow here. Oh, Zevi nicks it, but all the same, looking good. Fluxo don't lose a single player.
Lovely work. Cannot complain, can we? Really, at all. Nice and easy. So yeah, it is fundamentally a simple thing here, where for us, now it is all down to this. For Bestia, this is the potential last hurrah. This is about them staying alive and all the rest. It's just one of those where if Bestia can't win this one, there's surely no chance. This has to be considered the last hurrah. AK's out. Armor and Utah, which is okay for the most part, out from Bestia. This has been a collapse from them. First half wasn't fantastic. The second half's been more or less nothing to work with. That flash is good, though. Lucha will take a freebie every day of the week.
Absolutely. They need it on the Bestia side of things, man. If they are to roll through this, they're going to need some very clean rounds to start the comeback train. Nix just misses the timing. Zoc knows what's up as that smoke starts to go down. Could get caught here, though. Nix is going to hold them up. And there'll be the lobby crunch to come round. So, get very messy. Ooh, they line up. It's a good job that flick was quick. And Che Jesus holding, trying to find a little bit of something. Unfortunately, not going to be enough. Just the one kill is certainly not enough. Lukowski, careless. Very careless indeed. Maybe figured because he hadn't heard anything, there's no way they'd moved forwards. But Fluxo getting caught in this one for sure. Still plenty of room for them to work with, but a messy one.
Nice. Seen off Bestia. All right. Not going to give up on them just yet. They'll stay alive and very cleanly in the end. Maybe, I think, argument to be made about slight overfighting coming through from Fluxo, but it's not the end of the world. Because their economy hasn't taken huge hits, they buy happily back in towards the next. And most importantly, it does include Zevion towards the AWP, who has continued to be an absolute menace. 22-7. This is the guy that I'll always look towards on Fluxo. I loved him on Pain. He was so impressive. When they won ESL Challenger Melbourne, I was there. I predicted them before going into the tournament when we did a little predictions on the desk before the tournament started, and I'm glad it came true. He was electric. Him, Skulls, Big Azera, Hards out. It was a good time. Nix gets gifted the first Noxy, just pushing through the throat of that. That is so careless.
Yeah, there has been a few mental moments, I think. These two teams getting caught up in, again, that kind of stereotypical South American madness. Where, potentially, if you want to be taking this one, you do need to tighten up. Bestia falling flat. In this round, at the very least, and now they have been, you know, drawn back to try and rethink, refigure, redraw. Where do we go from here? Oh, I like this, though. Contact in. Getting away with an awful lot. Nix is a free kill. No idea what has just hit him. Lukazi a little sure up here in the rafters as well. What's the timing going to look like? In comes Art. However, oh, maybe could have gone a bit more from there, it felt like. It felt like they weren't even looking at him. Lukazi, though, he stands strong for his 14th kill. Leaves it down to Luchov to fend off that 12th round, of course. And, I mean, 16 HP. Is he even going to give it a look in, man?
The big question, right? Do you actually even look at this and give it a go? Because it should be, at this point, considered confirmed damage. Bomb on his back, double flash. And he's going to try and give it a go. And he's actually got the perfect space here. So the bomb will go down. And there is the potential of the round itself. Zevi's opting for the AWP, it seems, in this fight. Luchov going to play up close. They're going to try and barrel in. It might just work, and it will, thankfully. Thankfully, it actually was Luchowski taking that first fight and not Zevi on towards the AWP. And all in all, this is beautiful, beautiful Counter-Strike coming through from Fluxo. And a similar thing that we've seen more or less most of the way throughout this series. The second Bestia find a bit of success, find a round, it immediately gets responded to with success coming out from Fluxo. They immediately show just how good they are. 12-7, 5, I guess, map and series points in this sense, as it is best of ones for Fluxo and thoroughly deserved. They have completely mismatched this Bestia side and have just been significantly better. And unfortunately, Bestia have really struggled to get going. None of the individuals, bar Luchov, have really been consistently fragging, and it's been super costly.
Alright, let's see. Can Bestia keep themselves alive again? We look to another map that will get banned down to. Not quite sure what it's going to be just yet. It certainly will help these players if they have a bit to work with. Zoc with the spin around. Certainly been one of the standouts for Bestia, and he's picked up a few to maybe keep them in this game. Yeah, looking good as Art falls as well, trying to pull something off outside. Still Zevi on the orb, still in a weird sort of spot here. Could get a little wacky. The only one that remains, he's going to have to take them all down. Onto the AK now as well. He's dropped that bomb, and I think he's pretty knowledgeable of that fact as well. Zoc taking his time, playing patiently. So he's going to come forwards into his crosshair, but he runs out of ammo. Oh, the 1v1. How have we gotten here? Zevi just playing the patient game, thinking about moving in, but he's got no reason to do so. Luchov, he's panicked.
Yeah.
He's unsure. He's really, really unsure of what's going on here. And of course, he knows that it's a fair chance if he drops down, he's going to potentially make noise. So he has to play this safe and slow so he can work his way back towards silent drop. There's a shoulder. No one's seen it. No one's called it. But I'm pretty sure without the X-ray, he still would have seen that shoulder. Oh, definitely sees the head. Oh, and definitely finds it. Beautiful shot from Luchov to keep them in it.
All right, Bestia are kept afloat. That, at the very least, is something, because it has now broken the economy where, I mean, Che's is in double eco. So that in itself might tempt a force buy here. And yeah, we are actually going to see exactly that. Force buy has to come through. Fluxo economy is in flux, for lack of a better term, and they do have to take a bit of a harsh one. All right, maybe a chance for Bestia. You win against this relatively minimal buy. You get up towards 9. You get gifted basically the 10th as well. There is a chance. Zevi, I do like this angle though. Up on high. That's very exposed. The first is good. He gets traded immediately. I don't know if that's actually worthwhile.
Yeah, we'll see here, man.
The gun's not recoverable either.
A little difficult, but Naz does get overwhelmed. It's a Mac 10, but of course it's a numbers game now. Zoc is going to try and get in there. There is indeed Nyx above, watching for this. Going to get the freebie. It's worked out quite nicely. They have a good read, it would appear. Just one that remains, man. How have Fluxo managed to pull this off? You know, Bestia, again, cannot string them together for the life of them. Fluxo proved to be the stronger team. Looking absolutely fantastic there. They take it 13-8. An individual masterclass from a couple of the players. Really solid and fantastic showing on Nuke. I think it is safe to say. I'm very, very impressed by what we've seen from Fluxo Bestia. Moments in there, man. Moments in there where it was like, okay, here we go. This time, here we go. Here we go. But just unable to get things rolling, unfortunately.
Yeah, sadly, I think you're absolutely spot on. They just struggled to find the moments where it mattered most for them. For Fluxo, absolute credit has to be given to them. They really, really looked clean. And I think the big thing is now is, can we see them going towards a second series and do exactly the same? Probably, because I think for the most part, the thing that makes Fluxo so scary in this head-to-head is just the individuals actually look better. You know, the AWPing looks better over towards that are Fluxo with Zevi. The rifling call looks pretty good as well. But obviously, I mean, a lot of it has come down to Zevi, who was just incredible. But firepower-wise, it looks like a complete mismatch. And it makes you now wonder as well, you know, with Fluxo got a pretty good map pool, they're more than happy to go to puggy maps. And if you go to puggy maps, players like Zevi, as you can see on your screens, I mean, 107 ADR, 2.89 KD, 26 and 9. It's ridiculous stat line. And he can continue to farm. And he is, when he's on, he's having one of those days, he is a player who is unstoppable. And he is, you know, for me, he's the thing that makes Fluxo so scary. He's easily one of the best prospects in the region that's outside of the quote-unquote big teams, as maybe like not Pain or not Furia. For me, it has to be him. If there's any next best AWPer, if Fallen ever decides to retire, I'm looking at players like him, potentially people like NQZ. But yeah, Zevi's an animal. And when he plays the way he should be playing, that's what he can do. And Bestia, Vivanna just met the best of him.
Yeah, well, indeed, for sure. A really great showing, like I say, just on that kind of individual level. Zevi, towards the end, I think, started taking things over. It felt like, to begin with, though, Lucazi was really, really clean for me. So, you know, we'll see whether that continues for them moving into this next map, of course. We are going to take a break here. We've not got the veto out just yet, so make sure you kind of join in a little bit earlier and you can see what the map is going to be ahead of time and whatnot. Really looking forward to it. We'll stick with Fluxo and Bestia. Catch you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome back in here. Continuing on with Fluxo and Bestia. Second map for these guys now, of course. Second series, second BO1, you know, however you kind of want to look at it. Ultimately, they pick up a win in the Fluxo camp. It's a question now of whether Bestia can do the same, right? And we actually end up on Ancient here. That's kind of interesting to me, to be honest. I didn't foresee Ancient coming in. It feels like, you know, maybe a bit of a punish available, sure, onto Bestia, but in the same vein, I figured they would have gotten rid of it by this late stage of the veto.
Yeah, this doesn't feel like a great map on paper. I guess there's the only caveat here is that Bestia do play it a fair decent amount, whereas Fluxo, it's actually their second least played map, just behind Dust 2.
Sure.
Dust 2's fair enough because it's new to the pool. So as maps go, yeah, I don't know. Interesting one for me. I really do feel like this is one of those where it's which way you're going to play. You know, rep something about officials. Obviously, it's very good for Bestia, but then for Fluxo, decent amount of win rate on it, right? They played a fairly decent amount where they've picked up a couple of losses, or 3 losses in particular. But most recently, just I guess prior to the player break, 2 wins on the trot, 2 pretty comfortable wins as well. 13-2 versus W7M and a 13-7 of a crew. It's not bad. It's not bad. So that for me feels like one of those where, yeah, this one could potentially be a little bit worrying. I think it's probably the way I'm going to put it. I'm leaning very heavily in favor of Fluxo. It looks so good in towards Nuke. I can't really see anything changing heading in towards map, or I guess game number 2.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is true. It did feel like there was just a little bit of an outclass in places. We'll see here. We'll see here. Bestia are really going to have to bring a very different game, but it felt like indeed maybe Inferno, you'd argue, is their best map at the moment, but it felt like, yeah, Nuke there maybe should have been a bit more for them. And again, as we touched on throughout the game, really felt like that scoreline was kind of misleading. You know, there was a good buffer of sort of 3 rounds, I think, picked up by Bestia, thanks to winning out a force buy. Then they win the sort of follow-up anti-force buy of their own. Then they get an eco, you know. So this kind of thing, I think, set them up in a really nice position. And then from there, they'd get a round, and then it'd be 2 or 3 for Fluxo, and so on and so on. So super inconsistent from Bestia when the guns came into play. We've got the Ancient, though, on your screens here, of course. The fly through. You all know it does it by now. For me is probably up there, maybe is my favorite map at the moment. I think that kind of delivery of excitement, action, and of course, like the strategy, if it came down to the full-on nuance of the game, it would definitely be Nuke.
Yeah, for you. Speaking of nuance, or maybe lack thereof, look at this from Bestia. They are flying into those fights, and it might work in their favor. Oh, I guess the first. I mean, we'll just dip away. This is crazy. What are they doing? No one's trading each other. No one's fighting with each other. So every fight is isolated on both sides. Bestia could still take this.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We'll see, man. JG's just going to go moving through the smoke. Gives his life away. Maybe a little needlessly. One plank coming in. Will they expect the final 2 players in the cave here? And Zevi's like, okay, following the footsteps of my teammates. See if we can make this one work. Oh, the Julies don't manage to get it done. No, he runs out of ammo. No. And that is what cost you. It felt like he had the drop on Zevi. I'm sure Zevi was like still walking, and he didn't find the kill on him until much, much later. Art with a huge clutch up. Indeed, the gods of Counter-Strike looking down upon Fluxo this evening, it would appear.
Yeah, you really do hate to see that one in just running out of ammo. It's something so small, but so crucial to things falling apart there. Yeah, you really do hate to see it. I mean, for Bestia, the one thing you can say is a bomb plant, 4 to 5 kills, buying right back in. It's fine. But That's a tough one to lose because I honestly felt like Bestia could have won that, especially when it went down into that 1 versus 2 right at the tail end. The way for Spy out, we have got a double AK, we've got a scout. Oh my god, Nuke with his M4 deletes Lushov.
Nuke, a little bit of an off angle, makes it work for another one as well. So looking good here for Fluxo. The AK keeps on trading hands, but not finding any success just yet. Naz swinging around, trying to get something going. Arc comes in from above, however, and just tapping away at one. Maybe another one on the cards here for him as well. Naz still got this AK in play, though. Hoping to kind of get it in at least for one, but it's just not happening, man. Absolutely pulled pillar to post there on the Bestia side of things. Barely damaged to get a kill.
Yikes, yeah. That is... I mean, for Bestia, this is one of those things where, similar towards Nuke, whenever they find these small bits of success, they're just not able to close them out properly. And this is where we are feeling a little bit awkward and uncomfortable and all the rest. And now Fluxo 2-0 should be made 3 without too much effort into the next one. There isn't too much of a buy coming through from Bestia. No bomb pump, not enough kills. I mean, it's just showcasing where their money is so frail. Nyx, thankfully, gets a double off the back of Arc getting deleted.
Flank coming down. Oh, another one from Nyx. So may well have just sort of, yeah, sealed things in. Lukazi comes in at the perfect time, though. I don't know that Bestia really would have been able to do too much about that flank. They were not ready for it at all. Solid 3 in a row here, it feels like, from Fluxo. Picking up where they left off. Maybe even look a bit scarier, to be honest with you. Triple kill from Nyx keeps them alive, keeps them in the flow. But Bestia, of course, this is what they were waiting for. Plank goes down, AWP comes out, you know, looking like a really, really scary kind of buy from the T side.
Yeah. This is where, for Bestia, a similar thing that we saw multiple times on towards Nuke, has to be converted. Or going to come out, and Zevi having one on the other side, so Noxie's not exactly going to get free reign at range. As trying to play up close here. It's a bit of spam, but actually Art will catch Naz back turn. He had no support either at range. Zevi's AWP gets the first, and he spotted another crossing with the bomb, I think, in fact. Thomason falls. Noxie will deliver, but this round already feels like it might be on the way out. What a Bestia do?
Winging a prayer, really. They've got to hope that, you know, somebody walks into one of these players. They are obviously split. The flanking presence, okay, I was going to say might be workable, but Zevi ready for it. The one thing is this bomb. But Zoc very nervy to get it down. There was a window for him to work with. I'll grab some information while he goes down. He's hoping, you know, someone overfaces and comes into him. But again, it's these flanks, man. Bestia not giving them enough respect. And they will lose the round off the back of yet another flank.
Yeah. 4-0. Fluxo, they're not really having to work too hard for these rounds. Paul's going to be called out by Bestia, and without a doubt has to come through, and man, they really, really do need something quite special. I think for Bestia, they've not offered us enough. They've not given us a lot to fall back on, and I think for themselves, their confidence is probably pretty shot at the moment. I just feel like they're not in a position to compete. They can't in terms of the individuals. They're getting outcalled, getting outplayed, and everything is slotting into place. Yeah, I'm not liking what I'm seeing, really, from Bestia at the moment. And the fact that this is T-Side Ancient, it's not a map in which is super CT-sided like it once was when it first came into support. These days, this map is relatively even, both in the terms of the way it feels, but also statistically, too. T-Side spawns got moved forward. You can fight for more control out via mid and shelf and all the rest. And it's showing. Fluxo, they just look on the better side. They're playing with confidence, and they're hitting their shots. And the big-name players are stepping up. Zevi, 5 kills. Art and Lukalzi, also 5 kills as well. It's good off the rip.
Oh, Luchov, nice find there on the Tech 9 to open up proceedings. The flash super effective onto Zevi as well. Would have been an easy kill if he wasn't hella blind. Lucali not ready for more around the corner, and Art gets caught on the edge of the smoke. Bestia showing that they can indeed get it done. They can get their own individuals rolling. Really, really nice entries from Luchov.
Hey, Jesus. In a world in which you can be tempted by it, in all fairness, not even maybe the round, actually giving the round a go, but exits just because he has so much money. His team aren't exactly poor. I mean, look how he's sitting with 10k in the bank. Art's got 6. I mean, why not? You're going to have plenty of money to work with, but he's going to opt to tuck his head over towards Donut. He never had really a look in this round. Playing rotate. It was too late to the rotate as well at that point. Had to just call it. Bestia finally going to get their first one on the board. Off the back of the attack pause too. It's important to see them find some success. But it does still, however, need to be more than what we saw in towards Nuke, which was the common thing of they would find a round and immediately lose the following. So they never build up any stability. They never get any sort of consistency on the board. This is the thing that absolutely killed, for the most part, basically absolutely killed Bestia every single time. They pick up the smallest bit of success or momentum and it immediately gets shut back in their face.
Yeah. It's very true. I think they have to get off on the right foot, you know. Can be a bit tough to get going, sure. Again, the pace of these games is a lot. Luchov, strong. A bit crazy, of course. Maybe going back to his roots a little bit. Oh my goodness, Luchov in for another one as well. Lukazi also trying to get aggressive. Does not work out. That's a gun difference, to be fair. Jay Jesus, not a bad move, but yeah, the dink for dink. He's going to win that every time. Just down to Zevi here. Really good response from Bestia to keep it rolling.
Yeah, that fight just then wasn't a gun difference. That was just a mistake. Zevi's been spotted. Flash will come around. He doesn't actually feel too much from it, but it doesn't make a difference. Noxy will win the fight at range. And a flawless one for Bestia. So thankfully, consecutive rounds being put up on the board. And now we get to talk about potentially a little bit of consistency. This is where we're maybe on the cards for something to work with. Unfortunately, we're met with a tech pause though. So that's not going to help. But Fluxo, they can still buy. That's the main thing. Zevi still has money for the AWP. Everybody else can invest in. Nyx has got an MP9. Arts will probably go in towards an MP9 himself. Maybe a FAMAS if he wants to, but it won't be in towards the M4, especially considering you probably want the util. He does actually have an M4 over. Half armor. I'm going to say, did he not want a couple of flashes? He still actually can. Especially maybe not as feeble economically as I thought. You do have half armor purchased in. Bestia, win this one. Break the economy of Fluxo. That's where they can tie this game right back up for all. The attack pause only a brief one too.
Yeah, that's how we like them. That is indeed how we like them. We'll see what Fluxo can cook up here. It seems to be some pretty heavy mid-presence. A run boost there, I think. This orb, it looked like that number 4 moved pretty quickly. Usually you see it on the other side, but here they use it to get their first frag. Art is going to lose his life pretty quickly, however. Ooh, was that a shadow? No, I think that's definitely the smoke. It looked like it was matching up with a player model. Nyx. Doki going to find 2. Not sure we necessarily need to rush things. Lukazi traded instantly. 1v2 is certainly doable here for Luchov. Again, these flanks, got to keep an eye on them, man. York trained up. Ooh, a missed shot. That looked like it was pretty on. The second one definitely is, though, as he will find the round. And it takes him a couple, but Fluxo hold on to their lead.
For Fluxo, that's a big one, especially considering what was on the other side of losing it, which would have been that broken economy, which would have been them in a lot of trouble. Taking it, still relatively expensive in all fairness, but taking it nonetheless is all that matters. I think, as well, for Bestia. Similar thing where every time they're finding a bit of period of success, Fluxo still can win rounds just by brute force. So they don't just there. Well, he gets airburst. It looked like it bounced on his head. And it didn't bloom properly. Jesus gets caught. That's A actually now open.
Flash comes in. Very, very vulnerable. Or the B side as well, not finding success on their aggression. Could be all she wrote, but we'll see. Zevi. This is a chance for now, but there's nobody blocking him here at Xbox. Moves down silently, just being punched in. They're somewhat ready for a fight, but not ready for the AWP. 3 versus 3. A couple players sort of revealing themselves here as well, so they have a good amount of information to work with. Smoke towards A main means that is not an avenue, so there's a little bit of time to try and isolate some fights here. Zoc with a wild spray down through the smoke makes that work. I think they maybe want to save, yeah. They're trying to back away here. Zoc going to look to cut them off. Flash comes in, ineffective. And that will be everybody going down here. Zevi either goes down to the bomb or to the rifle. It is his choice. Ooh. Or is it? Zoc comes into him. Lovely little round from him.
Nice couple of shots at the end. He goes down to the bomb, but I think he sort of falls with a bit of a smile on his face. 5-3. Bestia. This already looks better, it has to be said, than what we saw into was Nuke. Nuke never felt really that competitive. There was these brief stints, but nothing where they were kind of consistently putting rounds on the board or making Fluxo feel pressure. They are now, which is the main thing. Fluxo going to force fight, which is a bold decision. I think it's safe to say. Lose this. Bestia probably tied this game up 5-all, which saves this half quite considerably. Again, they're going to aggro. Nyx will fall. Lucalzi will trade. The FAMAS is going to use the pistol as a bit of a Cuban flashbang, and it worked. How have they got away with that?
I mean, you're asking the wrong guy here. Heart's going to go down, though. And having a bit of a rough go of it the past few rounds. Certainly giving his life away at the worst moments. You know, Bestia have gotten back into a lot of these recent rounds through art frags. 3-on-3 though still looks pretty good here. There's definitely a gap on that smoke. Could go above it. Could go above it. That's what I'd be feeling right now. But instead, they move back towards Red Room, find themselves a man advantage and another gun to work with. So, kind of an interesting avenue. They make it work. They've got an AK now as well. Bomb going to go down. 2v3 definitely workable here for Bestia.
Oh, the spam is so close, but you're all right. Molotov will force out an engagement. Thomason, he will fall to the flames. Now it's an AWP. To play together. In this 1v2 for Fluxo, all they have to do is play off each other. One herd long. He's trying to take a fight, and it will cost him his life, but the trade is good. That's all that matters. All they have to do was play for the trade, play the numbers game, and they deliver. Lucalzi defusing, that'll be a 6th put up on the board for Fluxo. So every time it feels like they may be out of this, they find a way back in. Crazy. Yeah, Fluxo are making rounds like that stick in their favor. Ort picked up 2. It's something you gotta love. It's currently in the hands of Art. I'm hoping it doesn't stay there. I know Art did like to AWP a little bit onto Furia. Thankfully, yeah, he realizes that it's much better in the hands of Zevi. So it's okay.
Alrighty then. Bestia again under pressure to close this gap and make the half look serviceable. Contact's A play at the moment. Certainly a workable one if they can get the execute going, which is indeed what they've angled for, what a lot of the players have bought down for. Plenty of utility to work with. Definitely could have had another AK, maybe 2. But it would mean no extra smokes. So we'll see. Still shaping up over on the A side of things. Actually sending the AK away at the moment. Try and lurk out towards B. Could be a good read here. Could be some pretty good timing for that B lurker. Meanwhile, Could be some pretty good timing on the boost.
Jesus, he's up here. This is can be a bit of a tough angle. They're going to pop him in. That's crazy. And he will get a kill. And he knows there's another here. Maybe even two in particular. So it's going to keep them drawn over towards A and actually will force Bestia away. But fellas, 35 seconds. We ain't got a lot of time here. We've got to make a move decision. Where are we trying to finish? Smoke coming over towards Red Room. Zevi might get a fight before the plume. He does, but he takes a small tag. It felt like it should have been a little bit more damage there.
True. Oh, Nyx with a big kill, though. He's going to cut off the ramp angle. Nice little flash out. Will leave him completely blinded. Can't stop the bomb plant, therefore, but Art playing things patiently here, and they're not going to expect him to be in so fast, right? Potential for him to isolate one, maybe even both. And that is indeed the case. Lovely stuff from Art. Defuse will come in sooner rather than later, I think. Just spending a bit of time gathering some utility here.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, Fluxo up 2-7 now, and really threatening a scary half if this continues.
Absolutely. Fluxo looking good, and especially making the hard rounds work as well, I think is the important thing. Now guaranteeing a lead, which is great on that CT side, and the way they are playing as well. You win this next round here. Money shot for the most part towards Bestia. I'm assuming Bestia are buying. Yeah, okay, so yeah, Bestia are buying here. So then let's see, what have we got to work with for Bestia? Well, they're coming with Tech 9 Mac 10, double AK, and a Galil. Got a bit of loss bonus. It looks like they might want to go quick towards A. Zevi, what have you got for us? This is a big one for him. First is missed.
One plant coming down. A bit of a wild run in, though. Che Jesus gets a decent flash round. They're already retaking before the bomb's even gone down. No pause, no sport being allowed for Bestia in particular. Zevi gets a catch with some good timing. He works his way out of Temple as well. It looks like a good position, but he loses his head. And with the bomb plant now being successfully punched in, it gets a bit more interesting. Art with some good timing, though, around this corner. He could have had both once again. Now, he will only get one, but it's enough. Fluxo continue their winning ways and continue playing confidently. Like I say, the retake before it's even needed.
Yeah. This is just the thing at the moment where for Fluxo, everything that can go right is going right. Oh, a little bit of BM as well for Nyx. Really rubbing it in. Zevi actually could have got a couple more there, in all fairness. If he hit that first, he could have set up for a second. Who knows what could have been the case. But already up towards 8. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. It's a wild situation we're in with a Bestia. The first map wasn't really all too promising, and it just hasn't got any better. It felt like maybe at the start there was a chance, a couple rounds in a row on the guns. We were thinking, okay, maybe Bestia are onto something. Ancient's a little bit cleaner, and it's right back to winning ways with Fluxo.
Look at him on the edge of this smoke here again. His timing on these flanks has been so good. Maybe he can pop a bit of it here, but Bestia with a really wild sort of move. I think it has unfortunately been thwarted there by cheeky little shoulder peek. Nyx knows what's up, playing far back, but the push through cave does not go well at all. As I said, Lukowski, his timing on these has been really, really great. Naz looks ready for a fight. Oh my goodness, he's so crisp. 2-on-2 now. Where is that bomb is the big question.
What do they got for us? Che Jesus hears all of this. He's looking for his supports. No bomb plant for you, sir. Down goes Zoc. Thomason is going to get a kill. This is potentially on. 40 seconds. He's got a hell of a lot of time to work with. Che Jesus is going to play over towards backside. Thomason's tagged. Smoke in his back pocket too, and Che Jesus playing open here. Is he expecting? Oh, he is, and he will respond in kind. 9-3 half. I think this one's probably done, but we'll have to see whether Fluxo can close it quickly after the break. Well, the story hasn't changed. Fluxo still in control. Map number one, or match number one, I guess you could say, on towards Nuke was a one-sided affair. And things haven't changed here in towards Ancient. We thought maybe a better chance, potentially, for Bestia, but it has not been the case. 9-3 half. Fluxo, it really feels like if they win a pistol here, they might just see this one off quite quickly.
Indeed. Noxy hidden away around the corner. He's lost a teammate already, though, so a great start here for Fluxo. Exactly what the doctor ordered. Perfect flash round, but the dualies still look pretty good, and he's got support now as well. Going to be difficult to get through. That's a team kill. Oh, no. Just start the remains. Not going to happen. The ramp push completely thwarted. I think Bestia very, very ready for it. And despite a good run of flashes, just can't beat those dualies, man.
Okay. They've kept afloat is the good thing for Fluxo. It started well, you know. They get that opening kill. I thought for a second they might have a chance in towards that one, but yeah, not to be. Now a 5-round deficit. A full buy to come through for Bestia. I wasn't actually looking whether they were maybe tempted off a Fluxo, as Art did pick up that CZ and a smoke, but they are going to opt with a not. No buy. Rush towards A, then get a bomb plant. That'd be nice.
MP9 chiming for the first. A lot of damage from Zoc. He is going to run out of ammo. Create some space for the bombs to go down here. Not expecting too much as no armor and low HP bars and all that sort of stuff. But we'll take a couple kills and a bomb plant off the back of pretty much zero investment. Art was out with the CZ, I do believe. But beyond that, nothing much to write home about. Yeah, another round for Bestia, but the buy is going to be pretty nice here from the T side, so quietly excited for this one.
This has to be a pretty big shutdown from Bestia for them to gain confidence. They are going to go in for the AWP buy here for Noxy. That's a big call. I like it. However, you lose this round there. You're dropping it over towards Zevi. Do you want to risk that? He hasn't as electric of a map into towards map, you know, compared to map number one, but still is scary. Jesus, nice opener. Thomason gets caught. It's a real scrappy fight, and it is going to be that man there of Zevi who delivers on towards Zoc. The AWP's still here. Noxy still trying to be a bit of a nuisance. He did get a kill of his own. Numbers now in the favor of Fluxo.
Nice pickup from Naz, however, keeps things on the cards for Bestia. And the HP bars here are not ideal for Fluxo. They are going to need Nyx in particular to maybe find a key frag. Oh, if they kept going towards mid, they might have got perfect timing on Luchov there, but they pulled away to join up with Che Jesus. Try and give the B-bomb site a conventional hit, as it were. Nades coming out. Going pretty quickly. I mean, they're not necessarily in position to follow up on these nades quite yet, so we'll see if they can make it work. They were baiting in a peek. Luchov got to get checked. He does indeed. Whoa, that bomb was out. It's a real good job that Nyx found that kill. Otherwise, it was going to be 2 for Luchov. And a turned upside down moment. Noxy all alone. Kind of wants to give it a go, doesn't he? But with that AWP, just not going to happen 1v3, my guy.
I want them to hunt it. Go and get it. You know how scary it is in the hands of Zevi. They're looking really far away. They don't realize how close to home Noxy actually is. There's no way Noxy's trying to ninja this, is he? Okay, I'm really unsure as to what the game plan was there. And actually, they're not going to pick up the AWP. Zevi said in the comms, he must have said, hey, I don't want it. I want to use an AK. I thought maybe he would have gone back to his sort of comfort weapon, but all in all, I'm still confused as to what Noxy's doing at the tail end there. Why is he actually sticking so close? I know he has money in towards this next round here, but it is a case of why, because if he keeps that AWP alive, then he can drop one over. It's a much better buy than what they've got to work with here, and it's feasible in the rest. So, yeah, interesting decision to me. Hamas AWP, MP9 going to try and keep them afloat here. There's a gap to work with. Art might actually just go through this smoke. If he get popped through, he doesn't. The 5-7 going to win the first fight.
Oh, no. Problematic here. Noxie in the middle gets himself a two-piece as well, all alone there to do that. Hey, Jesus tries to get cheeky. Not going to happen. And Bestia with a pretty big find here. Unless Sevi pulls off an absolute miracle. But, you know, I am maybe getting slightly ahead of myself. It does depend if he takes a name or two away. Drops that or maybe could make a difference. Not going to happen, though. So it will end up being that flawless round from Bestia. Pretty impressive stuff. Few more like that, though, going to be required if they are to convince us that they can take this one.
Yeah, that was clean. That was good. I think still the big one, it just very much over fighting. Fluxo are just so confident, and it sometimes can be the thing that hurts them. It can be the thing that really does lose them rounds when they shouldn't be. It happened a couple of times towards Nuke, but for the most part, because of how clean they were and how crisp they were in their aim draws, they would win 3, lose 1, and a 5. It never really came back to bite them. You do need to be a little bit careful. Art, happy to fight as always, and will get the first. Flash doesn't catch him either. He might get a chance on another. Team Flash, hang on. Team Flash, nearly costly, but Art still finding kills. Beautiful.
Yeah, that was maybe awkward for just a moment there. 3 versus 2 here. Noxie ready to roll forwards. Ooh, Thomasin's kind of slipped the net a little bit, but Lucazi on one of those pesky flanks once again. Proves to be troublesome, and he goes in for a bit more. Good timing on the blow of the smoke. Either way, the bomb had pulled away. It was going to be an A hit, right? Looked really tough. But again, Bestia cannot string them together. Really has been a pain point for this team. Fluxo move up to 11. They break the bank. Likely to be 12. Likely to be their second win of the evening.
Yeah, and, you know, deservedly. I think this has just been a Fluxo side who have always been in control. They've never struggled. They've always looked like they've got the right idea about sort of how to approach this game and how to make things work for them. And I think as well on the other side, there needs to be these question marks about where, for Bestia, these issues that have fallen so flat for them, they've got to find better ways to get rounds. A lot of times they're getting caught off guard, first and foremost, or when they take fights, their spacing is just not quite up to scratch. And Fluxo are able, you know, we saw in there for a second, you know, gets the first kill, gets the second, because the spacing's a little off on the side. The guy that's deep over towards long isn't in a position yet enough to be able to trade him out. So it all starts itself into Fluxo's benefit so quickly. And B9's FAMAS 157 to keep Bestia alive here. No, that's going to be the case. Hang on. Yeah, one was spotted in the smoke. Thomasin does get traded, but Luchov gets one of his own.
Nice pickups from Zevi. It's just actually the one in that little exchange. Need a little bit more. Bestia seem to be pulling these rounds out of thin air. Nix flanked out left low at the very least and finished off by Luchov. So bit of a weird situation that Bestia are able to find these rounds. I think Fluxo certainly getting caught up in the speed and aggression quite substantially here. It is going to be an awkward one for them, though. The timing of it, right? The fact that it comes straight after they picked up a win, after also picking up, their money is in the toilet here, folks. So they absolutely are going to have to dig deep to find this one. But as we've seen, the force buys have been pretty effective from both these sides.
Yeah, they win rounds that are nothing. It's something that for Bestia, I always come back to the one point of, is it replicable? But I think at the moment, they've got so little to lose that who cares? Nix shouldn't burn here. He's just on the edge of that smoke. Got the only rifle to work with, so has to get some sort of success with it. Interesting that Bestia have completely relinquished control from the A side as they're opting for a bit more of a mid-push, and they're going away from where the objective is for Fluxo. But I think Fluxo are taking just a little bit too long.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. They look pretty ready here on the Bestia side of things. Oh, the boost comes up. It's been hurt a little bit. Zoc goes forwards for it. Decent utility here as well from the CT side. Holding them at bay. Trying to draw them in. Noxie on the other side of the smoke is in prime position to make this one a bloodbath. First comes in, he's heard another couple at the very least, but yeah, just holding them firmly at bay. Does bite off a bit more than he can chew, but it was all a setup play. Lukowski still gets his hands onto it. Whether he wins the round out, though, is an entirely other question. Thomasin takes him out on the backside. So, Bestia, for the first time in a long time, it feels like, able to string them together cleanly.
All right. Yeah, there's at least something on the cards here. For Bestia, this next round's basically a given with money shot over towards Fluxo, so they're up to 9. That's only a 2-round difference. They win the next gun round, they tie the game up. And then we have a conversation on our hands. It's not the most outlandish decision to talk about the potential of Bestia at least tying the game up, if not making a push to taking this. Technically, they can even do it in regulation too. This round shouldn't really amount to all too much. Flash is good. Luchov will get the first as Naz sets him up with a blind, and the spam is pretty decent as well. Glocks trying to overwhelm. You only get the one consolation. A freebie as expected. Bestia making a 2-round game.
Getting a little closer, getting a little dicey for sure. We'll see. Fluxo going to have to secure that 12th at the very least, I would say. But it has been a pretty clean comeback here. Bestia, I think no one really expecting them after that first half to bring this game this close. But it would be a bit sad for them if they aren't able to give this the appreciation and maybe indeed nick one away from Fluxo, who have been playing pretty overconfidently. I think it's a nice way of putting it. Oh, Che Jesus gets the catch on Luchov. Just super low finish there. Art creeping forwards, not checking his angles cleanly. Will get taken down. Naz happy to get away with that one. Che Jesus not in position to trade. The 4-on-4, and everyone's a little worse for wear here across the board.
What was it? Spot him? Doesn't matter. Head gets ripped off by Lukowski. Smoke will come down. Moves perfectly. Noxy, what are we doing? What are we doing? What is the game plan there? Pushing a smoke, no util, is crazy. And Naz is going to do the same thing. A definition of insanity, doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. I don't know what Naz was thinking. That one does not catch Lukowski off guard at all. Zoc, he might, in all fairness, he changed it up, but then he makes noise. And in making noise, Lukowski reacts and looks towards Red Room. Questionable decisions by Bestia. They're their own worst enemy in that round. And in a 4 versus 4, they panic. They gift the kills over towards Fluxo. And Fluxo say thank you very much. They'll take them every day of the week. Lukowski, you're going to feed him. He will always deliver. 12-9. Match point, Fluxo.
Felt like an inevitability after that first half, and it is indeed the eventuality that we get here right at the end. Question of whether they get it cleanly, whether it takes some work, or indeed if you can tap into what they had in the past couple of rounds and maybe take us to the overtime. Looked good while I was talking over for Fluxo. However, there have been 2 trades back here from Bestia. The bomb site not as easy pickings as maybe Fluxo were expecting.
3 versus 3. Just gonna pump the brakes. On a rush. Make this one work, but it's still a little bit of a weird scenario. Che Jesus does get gifted it. 2v3. This might be the beginning of the end. Zoc trying to get him behind. He's made a step, though. That should have been heard. That should have been calmed. I say that. Lukowski turns on a dime, but he cannot react in time.
Okay, Jesus needs this one. Spam is pretty successful, but can't find the kill. He really did need that one to just open up a path onto that B site. Flash goes in, faking things out, hoping for a peek hit. Naz working his way up into the trap, and he will get taken out. That's big damage, but is it going to be enough? Zoc, meanwhile, doesn't really know where to look. The twosome playing this pretty well for Fluxo, to be honest. Not too crazy, not too aggressive. Very well thought out. Bomb going to go down just about. It's a little bit on the wire there, fellas, but they will indeed get it in. Zoc, meanwhile, moving round. They're not really expecting him here. Oh, Jesus, just hides away around the corner. Shadow going to be spotted in a second here, so I think that'll maybe draw his attention. But an early peek gives him the frag. Doesn't quite know where to look now. Nick's trying to track, and Nick's will indeed take him down. Fluxo, it is a double victory night for them. Looking good in the BO1s. Can't necessarily call it a 2-0, but 2 wins for sure, as they will continue moving up the ranks here, of course. They were a little game in handy coming into this evening. A few teams out there have already played 4. They are part of the sort of thinner, lesser squads that have not yet played their 4 matches. Just kind of looking down as well, MIBR has yet to play any. So I think it is pretty important for a team like Fluxo, when you've got MIBR, a very competitive team in the region, to take the wins against the sort of lesser opponents, as it were, and, you know, get your bigger games ready for the near future when they're playing off against the MIBRs and the Pains of the world.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, especially considering that for, you know, MIBR, they're over at EWC right now, so they are getting good reps under their belt, right? They're playing LAN tournaments against the best teams in the world. They are getting very, very good experience. So you're spot on. I think, obviously, the big thing as well is, especially for sides of Fluxo's caliber, it's bare minimum getting the way towards playoffs. That has to happen, but it's actually probably about getting that preferential seeding. And I think Fluxo have the ability, if they play the way that they should be playing, they could even get a top 4 spot here. Getting top 4, we're talking about kind of upper bracket quarterfinals, kind of skipping a lot of the earlier stages, skipping all the lower bracket stuff for the most part, which I think is the main thing for me. It really is about giving yourself the best chances of getting what is ultimately the all-elusive and super important Pro League spot. We know how it's helped. Obviously, we had last season, we had qualifiers and stuff where Sharks, for example, were able to get one. They kind of out of nowhere. And Fluxo, they do have the opportunity. They do have the potential of making it there. And considering that there probably is going to be spots given just based on world ranking for teams like MIBR, like Furia, it makes it all the more important. But that being said, that's our 2 best of 1s concluded. So we are done for the day. Nice and simple. Nicely South America concluded. I think there might be some North America stuff happening potentially after us, but
I believe so,
you'll have to check on HLTV, check on the Twitter for ESL and all the rest. For myself and Scripto, we are done here. 2-0, nice and simple for Fluxo. And, well, we'll see you soon. Take care.